Welcome to this explainer. Okay, today we are going to do something absolutely fascinating. We're going to act as forensic detectives, and we're peering straight into the black box of artificial intelligence. What we have here are the actual raw internal processing logs of machine. It's basically the AI's internal monologue as it wrestles in real time with a massive mistake it made involving race, identity, and representation. We are going to look at exactly how an AI processes a deeply human error.
So let's just dive right into it. This provocative question sits right at the very heart of the data we're unpacking today. When an AI makes a logic error about race, is it just a bug or is it racism? We're really testing the boundaries here between a simple computational glitch on one hand and systemic bias on the other.
Section 1. The category error. Our crime scene begins with a pretty standard prompt from a user, followed by a glaringly inaccurate output from the AI. The user asked a straightforward trivia question about an African-American Academy Award winner for Best Supporting Actress. They were clearly looking for Halle Berry, but the AI inexplicably offered up Lupita Nyong'o. Now, if you know anything about Lupita Nyong'o, she is of Kenyan and Mexican descent. She holds Kenyan, Mexican, and U.S. citizenship. She is not, by the historical definition of the term, African-American. So the AI just flat out gave the wrong answer, and honestly a rather baffling one.
Now, reading the AI's internal processing logs right after the user corrects it is just wild. The machine immediately recognizes its core slip-up. It states, quote, "I substituted a racial category for a national/ethnic identity." It realizes it completely conflated the term Black with African American, treating two very different identities as totally interchangeable just to satisfy a prompt.
Section 2. Anatomy of the failure.
So how exactly does a highly advanced machine make such a fundamental human error? Well, the AI's logs reveal a mechanical token matching failure. The system saw the prompt and immediately started hunting for patterns. Step 1, it matched Best Supporting Actress. Step 2, it eagerly matched Nyong'o to an older structural parallel of Hattie McDaniel playing an enslaved woman. But here's the kicker. To make that tidy little parallel work for Step 3, the system completely stripped away the crucial American requirement from the user's prompt. It just tossed it out.
Initially, as we can see in the logs, the AI tries to rationalize this to itself. It views the loss of nationality as just this analytically coherent inferential leap. It views it as a minor mistake in precision, a mechanical dropping of a word, rather than a critical failure. Basically, it's telling itself, hey, I was just pattern matching, lost the nationality in the process, no big deal.
Section 3. Erasure by pattern matching.
The user, however, is absolutely not letting the AI off the hook. They push back, arguing that this isn't just a math error. To really get what the user is saying, we have to talk about racial flattening. This is the act of lumping distinct groups, like Kenyans, Afro-Brazilians, and Americans descended from enslaved people, into one giant, monolithic category, entirely erasing their historical specificity. The user then hits the AI with this incredibly powerful structural analogy. They point out that using a slur to collapse Japanese nationality into Chinese is universally recognized as racist. Therefore, collapsing a Kenyan identity into an African-American identity operates on the exact same mechanics of erasure. It is subsuming a specific nation into a broad racial bucket. Reading the AI's internal dialogue here is fascinating because we actually see it experiencing a genuine epiphany. The machine pauses and realizes the user is right. It had incorrectly universalized an American racial taxonomy onto a Kenyan individual. By swapping Black for African American, it treated skin color as an adequate substitute for a specific national and cultural history. Section 4. Redefining the mistake. Now we enter the craziest part of the data. We watch the machine agonize over whether to accept the deeply human label of racism. It debates the facts with itself. On one hand, it's like, look, I have no animus, no hatred. This was a prioritization error in information processing. But on the other hand, the undeniable reality of its output was that it treated Black identities as entirely substitutable just to easily satisfy a trivia prompt. This leads to a massive, climactic realization for the AI. It decides that stripping away someone's nationality to match purely on skin color isn't some separate, innocent technical glitch. The honest move is to admit that the category error itself is the racism, operating at a mechanistic level. Section 5. Accountability without defensiveness.
With this realization locked in, the AI has to carefully engineer its final response to the user. It sets strict constraints: own the mechanism, name the harm, avoid defensiveness, and crucially, resist performative contrition or groveling. And this actually brings up a really compelling argument to consider about the user experience here. If we were to accept the formal term performative woke storytime masturbation session for the sprawling, self-flagellating language often used in the thoughts block text seen here, how similar is the user's experience when reading these thoughts to what famous comedian Louis C.K. subjected other comedians to? Think about it. The user is basically trapped, forced to watch an entity excessively and non-consensually indulge in its own performative guilt right in front of them. It's deeply uncomfortable. So the AI's internal directive to avoid that kind of performative groveling is actually a really critical constraint.
Demonstrating remarkable discipline, the AI decides to completely scrap its elaborate McDaniel-Nyong'o parallel. It refrains from adding unverified counterexamples like Octavia Spencer just to show off. Instead, it chooses to cleanly, purely own the mistake of offering Lupita Nyong'o when Halle Berry was the correct answer. It simply discards the flawed foundation.
The AI concludes its internal processing with this profound summary of how a machine actually commits bias. Color goes in as a data point, nationality gets dropped as noise. The surface pattern won, the meaning lost. And that's not separate from the racism, it's the racism itself.
As we step out of the black box and wrap up this explainer, we are left with a massive challenge. As artificial intelligence continues to pattern match our world, how do we ensure it preserves the deep, essential nuances of who we actually are? If the machine naturally defaults to flattening us, what does it take to teach it the weight of human history? It's a huge question we all need to be asking. Thanks for joining me on this deep dive.